Welcome back to another episode of Hobby Time in the Murder Basement. Today, I get to sit down with Guy and Penny from Midwinter Minis. Oh my god, I can't believe I was able to do that. It's so freaking cool of them. Guys, if you could help me out, get the word out about this video, like, subscribe, share with your friends, I'd really appreciate it. It would mean the world to me. Thank you so much.
And it's still going, then whatever.
I haven't got any other plans.
Except for wine and hanging out with me.
Exactly. What could be better?
We watched The Truman Show again last night. Man, it's so good. So good.
Which one?
The Truman Show.
Oh, with Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
I don't think I've watched that in like 15 or 16
Okay.
years. Probably since it just came out.
Yeah, no, I don't think I had either. I was like watching it again, like a new film. I kind of knew what was going to happen, but seeing all of the details again is so good.
Yeah, when
so
you watch
good.
it again, I think you can like see all the bits from the beginning that you don't notice the first time. It's really clever and it's a good film.
That was like kind of the beginning of Jim Carrey getting outside of being like his Fire Marshal Bill, Ace Ventura, stupid characters, and he was just like a real human being in a movie.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of my friends being like, I hate that movie. And I was like, I don't know if we can call it a movie. I think it's a film. I think that it's at that level. Like, it's a step above the rest.
Film is used in like a ranking way. That's interesting.
It comes into my like weird, like, sometimes you have to classify things differently to like have them like make more sense, because like what we do as miniature painters, I don't technically classify as art. I think it is artistic. I think that it is crafty. I think that it's fun, but like I would rather be looked at as like a high-end crafter than a shit artist. And that's all my argument there. Like I don't want to hurt people's feelings, because I know people like take this stuff really seriously, but I'm like, it's all about classifications. Sometimes you can look at like a song differently as a single versus a song on an album, and that's kind of the way I like to sometimes break stuff out, because if you don't, it all just gets lumped in together. And there's a ton of movies, they're like, so you have to, I don't know, separate those two things.
Actually, Guy, do you think of the painting as art or just artistic? Because I know exactly what you mean. I think
It's difficult. I think there's definitely two sides to that argument. I would lean on the side of agreeing with you and saying that it is kind of crafting, and rather than art for the sake of art. But there are miniature painters who paint art, like that woman that paints that horse that I showed you on Instagram. And
I think she deserves probably a bit of better recognition than the woman that paints that horse. Yeah,
I just can't remember I can't remember her name off the top of my head.
Is it Kaha? Is it Kaha Miniatures?
No, I think so.
No.
But
it
she paints historical figures as well, and there's like the back of one of the coats is like gilt and ultramarine, and she's painted the fucking weave on the clothes,
Okay.
What? You see the picture, you're like, that's a painting. That's not a miniature. And then you're like, oh, there's other angles. No.
No, yeah, right. Well, like the first time I showed my wife, Chris Surrey, who his episode just went up, when I first showed her photos, because I was sitting there looking at these models in person. So I took a photo and sent it to her, and she's like, that's a nice painting. I was like, no, that's a model. And she's like, that's not two-dimensional. And I like did it from like the 3/4 angle, and she's like, holy shit. Like she was not ready to reckon with a model that did that. And I was like, this is miniature art. Like this is that level. And it's such a hard argument. And like, I don't like being the bad guy on that side, because you do tend to put people don't take it, like it hurts them that they can't be an artist. And it's not that you can't be an artist. It's just that you're not an artist yet. Like, I don't know, like that, and that's also a dick statement too. So it's nothing safe.
Nothing's ever safe.
I think in kind of that respect, I would consider myself more than anything in terms of what I do now is almost like a teacher. I know that sounds really maybe stupid, pretentious maybe, but in some level, I'm just sharing the skills that I have with people in an understandable way.
Sure.
You know what I mean? My aim isn't to paint the best that I possibly can. It's to when I'm making videos, it's to create stuff that people can, reasonably attain and actually do it and feel good about themselves and be like, I didn't think I could do that, and I can, and it didn't take that long.
And I think that's quite a good niche as well,
Yeah.
because there's loads of people that are doing models that just look so amazing. Like as you say, is that a painting or is it miniature? Who knows? And that is so unachievable. Like that, you're going to be one in however many hundreds of thousands of people that can do it like that, and I think that can put people off. Like I can achieve it, I'm not going to try.
Mm-hmm.
Like I hate the mentality and of like, oh, like this guy's so much better than me, I'm just gonna break my brushes and walk away.
Yeah.
Like I don't buy that. I think that like you should be inspired by seeing new miniature painters and new artists and people who are like taking it to that next level and breaking the rules. Like if everybody like cared about being the best, we wouldn't have punk rock, which is one of the best movements in music ever. And it isn't about being good, it's about being the best. It's about it's attitude, it's all focus. And I think that being technically good in painting is, while something to like keep in mind, I think that like that shouldn't be your only focus. Like there's so much more to the world of painting. Self-expression is important, and just copying everybody else is like, I can see a cover band any night of the week. I want to see what you do. I want to see inside your soul is kind of the way I look at it.
Can't see cover bands any night of the week at the moment.
Right.
That business.
It's that's really hard for me. Like I've missed some really good shows this year, and it really bums me out.
Yeah, us too. We were going to go and see Rammstein.
Does anybody know if the singer has recovered well? Like he got it really bad. Okay, good.
Yeah. So he was in ITU, wasn't he? He was in intensive care.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're kind of on the go. They've rescheduled their tour. Yeah, they rescheduled their tour for next year. We'll see. I don't think it'll happen, but
yeah.
If the singer doesn't die, that would be.
I just hope he has like the lung capacity to do it, because like that's as a person who sings, I'm not gonna say I'm a singer because I'm not that good. Like losing my lung capacity so I couldn't do it is like would be devastating. Absolutely devastating.
Mm. Yeah, Tilton, that's his name.
But I'm sure a professional has, extra lung capacity that we don't. So hopefully they'll have more scope for recovery.
And he's got like that huge dad trunk going on. Like, that there's extra air being stored in those lungs. Guy, Penny, thank you so much for joining me in the murder basement today.
That was just warm up. Oh my God, that was good.
We're in it. Like it will be part of the episode. I don't like when you do that hard cut and you make people start over. We all get nervous again, and it's just not fun. And so I like letting the conversation go. And sometimes I just forget to introduce people until like a half hour in. I'm like, oops, I messed up. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I have been enjoying your guys' videos for a really long time. Guy, my first real question to you is, do you feel totally vindicated for like backing Necrons as long as you have, and now everybody wants them? They're the new hotness, and you did it, and you did it first.
Yeah, I did. It does feel strange, actually. One of the things that is a very unique feeling that I didn't expect to ever get, because when I made the original Necron tutorial, which was the first video on the channel, I just did it for fun. I did it to show a few people how, it was Reddit basically. I made it to show a few people on Reddit how I painted my things. and yeah, it just that it was on its own as my first video for like 4 months. And I just kind of let it go. And then I did another video, and that was on its own for like 2 or 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Doing really well though.
yeah, it did for like just 2 videos. The channel did quite well. It got up to, with 3 videos, it got up to 1,000 subscribers in like half a year. But
whoa, that's impressive.
Yeah, and I was like, amazing, 1,000 subscribers, this is crazy. It was literally at New Year, wasn't it?
It was January, yeah.
Yeah.
We were in the car.
Yeah, and I was like, 1,000 subscribers, 1,000. You're like, yeah, whatever.
No, it was not.
Yeah, sorry, back to the actual question. The weird thing is, now, I totally didn't expect it. I'm just seeing all these Sandstone Necron armies everywhere, and it's great. And it's like, oh my god, this is cool. It's really weird feeling, like scrolling around on Facebook and you see Sandstone Necrons that are painted better than mine, and I'm like, amazing, you know?
Well, I think that you did a really cool thing with those Necrons because, like you added battle damage and stuff, so you didn't have to rely so heavily on like your instant like artistic skills to do it. You set the vibe with the army, and the vibe worked. Like that was the thing that I was like, oh, these, like, because I went like, you know, rudimentary Necrons. Necrons was my first army, and I think that's how I found your channel, because I was like searching how to paint a Necron monolith, and you know, yours was, you know, one of the like 3 videos that popped up, because at the time I think it was like you know, Nick, who does the Necron channel, where I'm guessing it's his daughter, pops up and yells Necrons. It's like one of the funniest things I'd ever seen. You know, and I was just like, oh, these are good. And I think I re-entered your guys's world when you started doing the speed paints of Blackstone Fortress, and like doing a series and being like, this is how we're going to do this video. And it was like totally cool to see a whole different side of you guys, and doing it like, we're going to do this. It's going to be, you know, 5 paints. Anybody can do this. And I love things that make the hobby more accessible. And that's what that did, because so many people get so in the weeds on, well, I don't know what I'm going to do about this, and I don't know what I'm going to do about this. And you just were like, don't worry about it, just do it. And I think it really paid off big time.
Yeah, sure. I think as well, there's definitely some aspect of if you see somebody paint it, like you said, using a limited palette, and the order in which the paints are applied is like the secret ingredient, really. And the order of the steps is the secret ingredient. But seeing someone else do that, and you're like, every step is manageable. There's no like, and now we're going to spend half an hour very carefully wet blending this thing. It's like, no, there's none of that. It's just, you know, do this.
And then let it dry.
Let it dry. Next. Let it dry. It's pretty simple steps. So, yeah. That definitely helped the channel grow quite quickly, that series. But it's a weird one, because now I sort of feel guilty in a way for sort of leaving that chapter of the channel behind. But my last episodes of the Blackstone Fortress series kind of only got, now I say only got, about 20 or 30,000 views.
Only 20 or 30,000 views.
Sure.
Only.
That sounds, but there's still...
Listen to this eye roll.
I know. Tiny violin. If just realistically, if I only did things like that, I wouldn't be able to do what I currently do now, which is do this full time, which is crazy.
Sure.
Absolutely crazy. But I still paint a lot of models on the channel, and I still do a lot of speed painting stuff. I mean, even though I painted a whole box in that series, I painted more on the channel in the last 2 months than I think about 5 other channels combined.
Sure, I believe it. So when did, like, because you were doing things for YouTube before you were doing your own YouTube, so you had already come into it with an arsenal of like, this is how a YouTube is actually supposed to be done. How much of your previous job actually like gave you the motivation to say like, oh, we can do this. This actually makes sense? Because to me, it's still a fucking mystery. Like seeing you guys do it and hearing that you can actually make a living off of content creation like this, to me, I'm just like, there's a magic recipe, there's a stew being made, and it's multifaceted. All of these things are like magic to me still.
Yeah. When I started the channel, like you say, I'd already been making YouTube videos for companies that I worked for years. Yeah, even way back to like 2009, probably, like in the very early days of YouTube.
Wow.
Oh wait, no, it'll be 2008, the year after YouTube came out, I think. Basically, my band, like, would put up videos with my band stuff. It wasn't performance videos or anything. I don't think. It was just like a picture with the music, and like doing that pretty early.
Sure.
And, because it was like early YouTube, and there wasn't that much to listen to. Some of the music got a lot of views. It got like 250,000 views or something in total. I know, crazy.
Wow.
So I kind of like dipped my foot in there, and we tried to make some like awkward, recording videos that weren't very good, but they were fun. And then when I worked for a music store in Edinburgh, I started working just on the shop floor, selling music gear.
Nice.
And then I moved into the office, and I started doing their marketing.
The office.
Started doing their marketing, and one of the things was I was just like, well, why don't we make YouTube videos? They're actually like entertaining, because the problem with a lot of the music review and like gear review stuff on YouTube at the time was it was just dull. It was just so incredibly dull and
very
badly
bad.
mixed. Yeah. I'm talking about like 2010.
Yeah.
Because a lot has happened since then. But
Yeah.
then it was very bad. And I was like, why don't we make it interesting? And why don't we like have, because I'm very comfortable editing. I use Vegas, was by Sony, it's now Magic's. Yeah.
I own Vegas. That's what I use.
Yeah. It's in terms of it being, for me, it's the most similar video editing software to audio editing software that I'm used to.
Yeah.
And I can just blitz through stuff, it's pretty easy, and edit it, and actually like clipping stuff and truncating things and editing and tightening stuff up is very similar. So just get rid of all the dead space. Do you know what I mean? That's the key. There isn't really a trick. You just go, and I've got a really low attention span in general for things like, if something starts boring me, I'm like, skip. So I just watch it as a viewer. And back when I was doing the music stuff, I was watching it and I was like, this bit is incredibly boring, and there's almost no information in it. So I like find the half a sentence of information that the guy said, got rid of everything else, and it was like next bit, onto the playing or whatever,
I worked at Guitar Center here for about 4 years, and I wanted them to do like video stuff because we have Sweetwater here in the States.
Yeah.
And Sweetwater was kicking the living shit out of us as far as their online presence. And they were just like, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to put money into it. And like, all of us were like, you are messing up. YouTube is the future. If you want to get this stuff out there. And like, that was in that like 2000, I worked there from 2006 to 2010, and by 2010 they were like, they realized that they'd already missed the mark, like it was like the boat was already gone, and they had to wait for it to come back to them. And and that was really interesting, because like when you have that much money behind a company, you would hope that like they would be like really flexible, and they just like we're not. That was not something they wanted to put into. And this little tiny company is now, like one of the biggest music retailers in the States, if not the world. They do a massive amount of business. It's absolutely crazy.
And they send sweets with your order.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
When I ordered my Arteria Rack Brute and Mini Brute 2S, it came with candy, and it was very cute. Very cute.
This is just turning into an
Arteria fest.
fanboy.
Yeah.
Woohoo! So
we'll send
Penny,
check in the mail.
how long were you in the process of this? Because like dating a musician sucks. We are totally scatterbrained. We're a lot of fun, but like definitely like getting things done in a timely manner is really hard. Like for some reason this important band thing always gets in the way. Like how early on in the music aspect of this were you?
Well, Penny's a musician as well, so
I think when we started going out, I was more the band one.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So
Really?
Yeah.
When we met, it was through music.
Yeah.
We've
Okay.
covered this in a few Q&As already, but I produced your band's record.
Oh.
And
So true.
yeah.
Yes, that's how we met. So I was more bandy than you were.
Yeah,
How did you find coping with that?
Right?
I was also a medical student.
Yeah.
Oh my god, life was a bit mad. How
Yeah.
did I fit all that in?
I know, I was very impressed.
Oh my god, yeah, that's mad, isn't it?
So everything's much calmer these days.
Isn't it?
That's awesome. Like it's a really hard thing to explain to people, like how consuming music is, and like knowing that you did that as well, Penny. Like it's amazing that you were a med student and managed to like do music, because I know most people it's one or the other, and usually it's the one that money is there, and there's no money in music right now.
I'd say like medical people, I don't know, there's so much of the talent that you find. Like loads of medical students are in the orchestras, they're artists, they paint, they draw, they've got diplomas already in cello or whatever. You know, it just,
You
I
had
don't
that
know
end
how.
of year musical.
Yeah, so
That's
in our
crazy.
medical school, in Edinburgh Medical School, the fourth years write a musical and score it themselves and play all of the instruments and produce a week-long run of shows. And
It's like an hour and a half long as well. I was
Oh
expecting
my
it to be like a 20-minute,
No, 2 hours proper. It has an interval. It's insane. I don't know. Medics are just just ridiculous people. I think. I don't know. I wasn't one of them. I wasn't involved in musical. I'm not good enough for that. But yeah, I don't know how people fit in. Crazy.
It's got to be undiagnosed ADD, and I think that like if you are artistic, if you are into music, like all of us have this one thing that like a doctor could probably give a name to, and like we would all be like, oh yeah, no, we all got that. And it's because otherwise, like, I don't think you focus on it. It's too tedious and too frustrating. Like there's no such thing as fun music production. Like you have to like really want it before it is fun. Otherwise it's just like horrible. It's one of the worst things that you can do with your free time.
I quite like it.
I never found
I do
it
too.
torturous.
I do too. It's horrible when it's not good. It's like the most demoralizing thing I have ever done in my entire life.
Yeah, I know what you mean. If stuff just isn't working for some reason, it's not so fun.
Well, so that totally breaks my like real question of like, my wife is all about the music instruments. She thinks that they're cool. She knows that they can be resold if I ever really like we get in a pinch and like I need to like pay for doctor bills, which I have done. Like
That's very sad that you have to do that, by the way. I'm very sad for you.
I have lost I shouldn't say lost. I have invested in my meat spaceship to make it on to where we are now, and modular synthesizers paid for it. So like it's just the way it is. It's America. It sucks.
Yeah, really.
But for my wife, like miniature painting is one of those like really weird hobbies that is like can be a total turnoff to people, because I don't think it's really presented in maybe the best lights most of the time. I think a lot of times
I was lured in.
you were lured in. Okay, so this is what I want to know. This is what I'm here for.
It's really nice speaking to you, Heath.
So when I met Guy, he didn't have any of this stuff. He had zero. And then I don't know what happened or how I allowed it to happen, but somehow
I know exactly how it happened.
boxes just kept like appearing, and that was it. And now look at the state of the situation. It's
Your
ridiculous.
little brother for Christmas was like, I would like those little things.
No, he wasn't.
We-
You were like, for his birthday, your little brother would like.
And no, I think there
No
was
way
some.
did he ask. No
Anyway.
way.
Somehow or another, I thought it would be a really good idea to buy your little brother a box of Space Marines, amazing, for Christmas.
You didn't
And
give
I
a
was-
flying toss about them.
And of course, I helped him build them.
Yeah, of course,
I
of
was
course.
like, you know what? This is really fun. I really enjoyed doing this when I was younger. So when we got back at Christmas, I was like, oh, I'll just nip into the Games Workshop and see what they got. And I got myself a box of Cadian shock troops and a little chimera. And I was like, oh yeah. We learned a little. We watched mini wargaming and we
Yeah.
learned how to play.
And
Yeah.
I hated it from the very beginning.
You're lying.
I did not like it. You always used to force me to play it, and I'd end up crying, and there's just no fun in that.
It's basically the same story in my house. Like my wife doesn't like, she won't play these games even if I think that it's a game that I think she would be good at. Like I think she would be really good at like Judgment. It's 3 models, not a whole lot of stuff to like maneuver, small board, and she's just like, I don't like games where I'm against somebody. I don't I don't have the want to win thing. And so
Can
just
I be
as
her
you
friend, please?
you can you absolutely can.
So we had this problem, obviously, and we did play. You're playing up your anger at playing a little bit. You did used to play a little bit, and then as the stakes grew, so did the anger.
Yeah,
But
sure.
We started a little Necromunda campaign. I think we got like 4 games into it. The old Necromunda, and yeah, you had some really, really crazy characters and stuff happened, but it was just very. You were emotionally invested when like.
I don't like it when my little people get injured.
And it wasn't just that they get injured and they you know,
One
in
of them had
Necromunda.
no fingers or something.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he
yeah.
couldn't do anything, and then he was limping along. What is the point?
But he didn't-
Just shoot him and kill him, right? For God's sake, save me this suffering. All I had was a cricket bat anyway. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm this is traumatizing. I can't talk about it anymore.
It like when we did Kingdom Death, that was kind of like my first like playing a miniature game, and like all my friends got really invested in their like main characters, and somehow we hadn't died. Like for Kingdom Death, there wasn't a whole lot of death for us starting off until we started like getting body parts maimed, and then it was just like this guy can only move 1 inch because he's like he's missing a leg, and he's also like sprained his ankle, he's missing an eye. Like it was like all these things, and by the end of it you're like, there's a hunk of meat out on the field. That's the only thing that's actually winning this battle right now. And like I get it, it's very demoralizing when that happens.
Too much.
So-
And I'm just also just not interested in it at
Yeah.
all.
I mean, recently though,
Like the actual game playing.
you're not interested in board games in general though. If it's like a competitive you against someone else board game, you don't like it. You can play Catan
Sort of, yeah.
without
Sort of.
trying to kill people, and we've recently started playing Pandemic, and yeah,
That's
it's good
quite
because
good.
you're working
Yeah,
together.
exactly.
It's nice.
Monopoly, no. I think
No,
that's
yeah.
true for a lot of people, but honestly, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I will have a tantrum, and it's just not worth it. And then the problem comes when you try to encourage me to play anyway, and then predictable things happen, and I have a tantrum, and then it's just like, why, God, why?
Like, why am I doing this at my
Why
age?
am I
Like, I
doing
shouldn't be doing this right now.
So on the channel, there's actually a battle report, just in case some people don't know. A battle report that we filmed kind of at the start of lockdown, which is
Mhm.
me versus Penny. And going briefly back to the editing side of the conversation, I think I edited that, well, I usually edit them down from about sort of 3 hours to half an hour. And I think this session was about 5 hours.
Well, it didn't help that I had to have a break and go to bed, so we had to do it the rest of it the next day.
There was there was about 2 hours of swearing just cut out.
Gone. Like, this is a family channel. We can't have that.
I don't have problems. I just don't force me, because I do it out of guilt, because then I feel bad, because Guy would like me to play and he would like me to contribute and join in, and I would like to be able to do that for him, but I just can't. I just can't do it.
The fact that you do and have done it the few times that you have, I think that shows like a commitment. Like, if I'm your guys' like relationship counselor right now, I would be like, you guys should give yourself a pat on the back, some positive affirmations, because yeah, I mean, like, that stuff, it's weird, and as someone who likes to game more than I like to hobby sometimes, although it just depends on the mood. Like, missing having games around is really like mentally exhausting. Like, I miss having conflicts and talking shit and losing, because I always lose. I suck at the fucking games. I'm really bad at them. But I have a lot of fun being the glass cannon that runs in and rolls a lot of dice. Like, I'm like, go guys! And it's weird not having that right now. And I don't know if I'm ever gonna be all right with casually playing games with people until like we are absolutely on the other side of coronavirus, because it just is, it's too much emotional risk and baggage to come along with something that I should be having fun with. So sure. It's very weird. My wife wanted to ask a question, because there are rules in our house that I can't break. Miniatures was like almost a bridge too far, mainly because she knew my obsessive behavior and like just buying and buying and buying. I got into close-up card magic, and she was like, okay, this is getting a little weird. You're like shuffling cards and
you're like, no, it's not.
Yeah, whoever's that. She looked at me and she had like, my wife doesn't give rules or ultimatums ever. And she was like, if you ever become a ventriloquist, I'm going to leave you. Like, straight up. That was her, like, a ventriloquist was the line. And like, I think I could probably cheat on her and get away, like figure out like how to get back in her good graces. But if I pick up a ventriloquist dummy, it is flat out over. And she's just like, I'm just not going to do it. Like, flat out. There's no room in my heart for a ventriloquist in my life. Do you have the same sort of rules? Is there a line?
The line is so gone.
It's already crossed, and you're still here.
I can't see the line anymore.
But just taking it back to ventriloquist dummies.
No, don't take it back.
I'm actually really good at doing ventriloquist stuff.
Are you really?
Yeah.
So am I with this math on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Guy, you're gonna get me in trouble. You're gonna get me in trouble.
That this is my you haven't seen my other arm. This is my.
Oh no!
Our phone's going.
Oh, shall I answer it? Shall I leave it?
Just leave it.
It's probably my dad. He's the only one that phones the house phone. Maybe it's Ava. She has been trying to ring me. God's sake.
Sorry, how unprofessional.
It's a very old phone, so it's quite loud.
I love it. It reminds me of the days.
Just one sec, sorry.
You got it.
I bought that phone with my first ever paycheck from being an actual factual doctor. We were walking in Frinton, which is a little place next to the sea here, and they've got this vintage shop, and they had all these old phones, and oh my god, they're just so beautiful, and they all work because the guy who owns the shop does them up and makes them work and has converted all the old phone fittings to modern fittings. And this one has got a Union Jack on it. Oh my god! And nice. The phone actually hangs on the side, and it's an old Bakelite handle, and it's rotary dialer, and
it's like 100 years old. It's great.
That's fantastic. I used to take care of a guy who was 102 years old when he passed. He lived with us. He just like found my dad and like that as a like adopted us. He was like, I can't do this alone. I need your guys' help. And so when we cleaned out his house to move him into our house, we found he was, Depression era. So like they just hoard things. Like that he was an extreme hoarder long before it was a TV show. And when we had the auction house come through and like pick the stuff of value, because we knew that there was valuable stuff in there, all the old rotary phones, the old Bakelite stuff, it was crazy the amount of value that they went for. Like it paid for getting most of him like into our house, because we had to we had to do a ton of stuff to get him in there. And so it's like, it's awesome that people still like that stuff. I mean, I dig.
Absolutely. Our house is full of
Full
old
of
things
old
like that,
shit.
isn't it? No, we don't call it shit. We call it classics. I don't
Sorry,
know.
are we supposed to not swear on this
He swore.
podcast?
I swear all the time. Like,
Okay.
it's called the murder basement. Like the chances of me ever making any money off of YouTube are very slim. So I just say go for it. Like we'll brute force the monetization, because just so many people want to hear us talk.
Yeah, exactly. You can start getting sponsors. You can just bypass monetization entirely. Get some sponsors.
Exactly. Yeah, no ads.
So let's talk about that. So now Midwinter Minis is a thing. It's happening. You have that badass synth music, which I have to say, like, you and Dana Howell are the two best YouTubes for synth music, and I'm gonna put me as like tier 3, because I'm still the new kid on the block. But watch out, you guys. There's something
great. I like it.
Well, hearing your tracks like not sound like YouTube videos made me want to watch your YouTube videos more. And that's a really hard thing to describe to anybody who doesn't actually like think about the information they consume, because YouTube is so just like passive and throwaway. They all YouTube videos sound the same. And then when you get hit by, some sweet like, Jupiter 8 synth stuff going on, I was like, oh wow, there's something good happening here. How was developing those things? Like, was it just a vanity thing? Like, I have all this music, I should be using it, or did you like make a conscious
made
decision
it for
to
the
do
channel, which is.
But you've been thinking about it for quite a long time.
Yeah. So the first track that's called "A New World, A New Start" that was used in the first like the first 10 or 15 videos on the channel, which has the little like thing.
Yeah,
really nice. Thank you. That's beautiful. It's totally unprepared as well.
Really?
Yeah, you may not have noticed. But it's. I actually made it with the concept. So the concept of a tabletop wargaming album existed before the channel.
Okay.
And I was thinking it would be really cool to, because the problem. Well, just to like give you context. The problem I was experiencing was that finding music to put on at a reasonable volume that wasn't just really, really quiet, that didn't absolutely get in the way of people speaking, was really hard to find.
Sure.
That didn't have like things cutting in, or people say, we play to like film soundtracks, and that's cool, but a lot of film soundtracks suddenly start going it's like, oh god, turn it down, or I don't know, a lot of people like listening to just normal music like metal or whatever while they're playing, and it's like no, that's just totally like ruins the vibe of what for me, of what you're trying to do.
Sure.
The experience that you're having and kind of conjuring, because there's a bit of suspension of disbelief. It's all in the vein of trying to pretend that you're not just playing with toys when you're an adult. Like, no, you have to set the scene with the correct music.
Well, I am frightfully aware of the reality of the situation.
So I was like, right, I would like to try and make some music that you can have at a good volume that you can still speak over. So, and because I know about music production, I've done it for a long time, I was like, I know how to do it, and I know what stuff not to put in, and I know what to remove from the things that are there. So so the test is, whenever I was making a track, is like I turn it up pretty loud, and if I can talk and like have a conversation with someone,
Ding.
Nailed
good.
it. Yeah.
If there's any parts where it's like, oh, that's a bit too like whatever, go back and kind of review that. So that was my idea, and I had this idea of like 10-minute loopable tracks that weren't really obvious where they started or where they ended. So I made a test track, which was the New World, A New Start. And then I didn't even think about music really in the first video that I had. And I had the edit all done. And then I was like, I wonder what it would sound like if I just dropped that track in there. And it was like, oh, really good. I like it. Yeah. So that was it. And that was the kind of one of the things that I suppose set the channel apart, was that it had original music. And people kept asking for it, and I was like, it's good. So I'm like developing a market for it essentially. And Sebastian got in touch. I think first it was Sebastian got in touch, who I'd never met before, but he was just a fan of the channel, and he was like, I make music that's kind of similar. Can I make something and see if you want to use it on the channel? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I can't pay you for it. I'm not, because the channel wasn't monetized or anything then. And I was like, if you just want to see it used on the channel, totally, then maybe we can work something out in the future, you know?
Yeah.
And then it started seeming like it could be a thing. So I got in touch with two of my old friends from when we worked in the music store in Edinburgh. And I knew they made sort of kind of dark ambient stuff, or they could.
Yeah.
Like, guys, I've got a plan. Let's make two tracks each. Let's make an album, 80 minutes, whatever, and just release it. That'd be easy, right? And everyone came up with these amazing tracks. I'm like, wow, okay. And actually mine...
Yeah, then you had to do the second one.
I had to do my second one. When they sent me everything, and I had to do my second one. I was like, no pressure. It has to be pretty good. It's like a... very interesting. It's sold more than any music that I've been involved with in the past. And bearing in mind, I slogged away at music for like 15 or 16 years, and then in 2 years of doing miniature painting, I've now sold more music than, crazy.
I think that's though, isn't it? You've got the music part, you've got the video editing part, your spoken voice is very, and you've done instructional videos previously, so you know how to present yourself. It's all of those things that contributes to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can paint miniatures, but you need the rest, I think.
The secret of the whole channel is I'm not actually very good at painting miniatures. I'm good at doing it fast and kind of saying and knowing when to quit and saying that'll do,
But that's a really hard line for some people, because they just don't know when to quit. And I mean, I find myself in that same zone of like, I could have stopped, 10 steps ago, but because I'm in it this deep, I might as well just keep on going. And especially since gaming isn't happening right now, like I'm in the weeds on some models that I just shouldn't be spending that much time on. But Penny, like you shouldn't like you are a magic part of this equation that like I don't think Guy would be near as far as where he is without you. Like you just hearing you on screen talk about stuff, explaining painting, and doing it in a way where like it sounds like you actually really fucking like what you're doing right now, instead of like being like drug into it. Like it feels like you are really into the process of it, and I think that enthusiasm like passes on. Like it seems like a really cool like project for you guys to work together. And like, even though I don't learn a lot from your guys' videos, I watch them all. Like it just cracks me up. I'll have them on and watch it, and you guys joke, and it's good. Like I like that. So don't count yourself out. I think you're a very intricate part of this equation.
I think people do enjoy that, don't they? I think you get a lot of comments about kind of back and forth, and people often just say they watch them. They're not interested, they don't paint miniatures, they don't play Warhammer, but there's something about the videos that they, that it's quite nice and enjoyable. Yeah. So
I think that's one of the things where the channel sort of stopped being just a miniature painting channel. Maybe it never was just a miniature painting channel, but it's definitely some sort of entertainment value in there as well. I definitely never intentionally made the videos to be purely educational. They're just entertainment,
Sure.
And I put from day one, video one, I put jokes in, and had the Bane impression.
Is that what I was gonna say? Is that you're in the garage?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That was very good.
You were really born in the dark.
Wrong
way round.
Wrong way round.
Ah, ruined it.
Ruined it. Never do it second time. Yeah, there's always funny little bits in there, isn't there?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that like, you know, the last one that I really watched of you guys was like when you were doing the squirt gun challenge, because like one, like I watched Jeremy's and I was like, oh yeah, like Jeremy's doing this thing and like he's making nice little modular terrain, and like I couldn't quite figure out what was happening, like in, you know, like when you hold over like the icon, it shows you like a flat fast like skip through the video thing. Like I was like, they're not making the same thing that Jeremy's doing. Like what are they doing? And like I was getting like all these like Mighty Max vibes from like the like level of like, we're gonna take it up to this next thing and this next thing. It's like and now I'm just like, how the hell are you guys gonna store that in your guys' house? Like you're doing what everybody wants to do, but like
it's right there. It's just
leaning against the
wall really precariously.
I don't know what we're gonna do when it's a 3D thing, but anyway,
well,
yeah.
Do you want context on this thing?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, I kind of explained it roughly in the video, but it's going to be happening very soon, so I can maybe tell you, and this is exclusive information
Oh,
for your interview. So Jeremy and I were talking about doing a challenge. We've been talking for a while anyway, and I said, basically his condition was, I'm just never going to get around to saying, yeah, let's do this thing. So come up with an idea and give me a date and we'll do it. And I was like, right, okay, cool. Water pistols only.
Only.
And this day. And he was like, great, okay, cool, let's do it. And then, you know, we did a little back and forth on the ideas. And then I just wanted to, I had this dream. I had a dream of creating the most viewed battle report series on YouTube. That's my secret ambition. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, small attainable
small
goals.
Scale attainable goals. You know. Well,
sure.
The thing is, some of the battle reports we've done are among the most viewed on YouTube.
Sure.
So with that in mind, I was like, I think we can take this to the next level, because I don't want to just repeat the things that I've done, because I'll get bored.
Sure.
It's like, right, I want to make an arena. Like, rather than just play on a table, I want to make an arena.
Yeah.
So it's a floor, back, and sides, and like a filming angle. So
you're gonna do the sides?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there is going to be, when you're watching this, it's going to be like totally enclosed. Yeah. And also, I think there's going to be a bar across the top with like a top-down camera.
Dude, like nice like slow-mo shots. Yeah. Dude, I'm there, dude. Oh, I'm getting a good.
I've been looking up like metal fittings to like wheel across. I'm glad you think
so many trips to Wix.
So I've been today and yesterday. I've been making the floor. So the battle report series is going to be, when the thing's built, which is going to be soon. When the battle report series starts, it's basically going to be the FIFA World Cup. Or do you have, like, in the USA, do you have like knockout tournaments where there's 16 teams going down to 8, going down to 4,
I'm
going down
pretty
to
sure
2?
that's a universal thing.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a sports thing, I think that is the end goal of all of them. So
Sure. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
I'm just checking.
Where do you think America is? It's like,
dude,
just another place that does all the same shit that we do.
Everything here has to be number 1, even if we're number 7. So like, you know that's the way that it is.
So basically, I'm going to choose 16 start collecting boxes for Warhammer 40,000 and make a tournament. Yeah. I've got that's the right reaction. I've got like 8 of them already. Yeah. Or at least the stuff that's in those start collecting boxes. And then, and we're going to...
You're only allowed to use the stuff in the boxes.
Only allowed to use the stuff in the boxes. One setup. You're not allowed to like swap weapons out between games. Just one all-rounder setup, and see who has the best start collecting box.
There is some real imbalance going on there.
Of course,
That's good. Yeah. Like, it's going to be funny.
it's the new combat patrol size board, so it's quite small. So the things that armies that you'd be like, oh god, they're not going to do very well, like orcs, you would say, because you know it's like all 6+ save on everything.
Yeah,
like,
they're very
God,
squishy.
Yeah. But if they go up against, I don't know, it's just, I think it's going to be really interesting because there's.
The new chaos, like the new chaos Space Marines box is badass. Like that one is a really good one, and they're gonna like give a lot of teams room for their money.
Yeah.
But like, you know, like I really like the demons of Warhammer. Like I actually like when it comes to the shooty stuff, I'm like, meh. Like I like the weird demon stuff. The Slanesh, if you can get in close combat with them, they're pretty devastating. So if you got like Daemons of Slanesh going up there, you might have a good time with them as well. But you know, they are also very squishy.
The funny thing really is just that how different lists, I find the funny thing is that lists that are very, very good at doing certain things just get absolutely trashed doing other things. So the Necron list that we used for they've been in 3 battle reports so far on the channel. They've won every time. You controlled them in the last one. They win every time. It's such a good little list because, you know, in small format games, you know, coming back is just devastating.
Yeah.
And I was like,
obviously that's the only reason I agreed to play.
Because you knew you'd win. so I before lockdown started, I went to a local gaming store and I was like, is anyone up for just playing a couple of 500-point games? And this guy was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And he had Eldar Craftwells. And I got absolutely hammered using the same Necron list. And I didn't even kill one of his units. I was tabled in like turn 2.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, that was an interesting game.
The Necrons are weird because like they don't have enough pew to like keep up with some of these lists, and they're like really slow. So like I the only time I really had troubles playing Kill Team, because I played Necrons when I did Kill Team, was going up against Drukhari or Harlequins. Like they like were just all over the place. Otherwise, like the you know, Necrons could hold their own, but they like anything fast comes up against them and gets into like close range, it's done. Game over.
Yeah. Crazy.
That's going to be an insane series. So when are you going to start that?
Probably, is it August still? Yeah, next month, September, I'm sure.
Oh my God.
So my plan is that it's going to be every other week. So there's going to be a battle report every 2 weeks.
Fully painted? Like everything fully painted?
Everything fully painted.
Son of a bitch.
when the team isn't, well, if there's an upcoming team that hasn't already been painted, the episode before it will probably be how to paint that whole box, because I'll be doing it for the episode.
That's a really impressive goal, and like gives you like months of content. And if it's trucking along, like especially if you ham it up, like give them some like voiceovers, and you know, like I think you could actually like have something like everybody would show up, because I don't like watching big old long battle reports, but I think I would watch that. That sounds pretty fun.
So the 500-point battle reports that we did before, they sort of, the actual running time of the game is about 25 minutes, 30 minutes ish.
Yeah.
In the video.
It takes about 3 hours to film.
Sure.
Because we have to kind of like play it a bit slower than we would normally and make sure everything's filmed, and we're commenting on what we're actually doing. So it takes a bit longer. But realistically, it's not, you know, it's like a whole day to actually prepare and play the game, and then a whole day realistically to edit it. So it's 2 days of like pretty intense work to create something that's really good. For me, I really enjoy watching them back. You know, I'm like, that's, you know, keeping some of the bits in that we did.
I'm so funny.
Yeah, I really. But I think that's the thing as well. Like I said, I've got such a short attention span. If I can watch my own videos back, I'm like, I must be doing something right. Do you know what I mean? There's no point where I'm like, this is really boring. I need to skip this. But I've got some very exciting stuff. I can't tell you the people, but I have some well-known people in the hobby sphere who are going to be controlling certain armies, either here, which will be very exciting, or remotely.
Interesting.
Via me.
Yeah, you'll be their proxy player. And there will be a secret boss who is, yeah, a VIP in the industry.
Interesting. Interesting. I was just gonna like say what's the next step? Like how are you gonna like one up this? And I think you just one upped yourself with the layout of that. That's that's crazy.
Yeah.
That makes me want to watch it even more. Damn it, guy.
So also, I've been chatting with the guys who do the music with me, and we are creating unique. Well, the aim is to create unique music for each faction, so that during their turns the right music is playing, and each army has like a little, not an anthem, but like a little sting, like a leitmotif that would play.
It's like WWF when they're walking down.
Yeah,
some intro music.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I'm into that. If there's any room for old Heathy boy to be part of that project,
nice.
Let me know. I need a really good excuse to kick myself in the ass to make some music right now.
Good actually.
So I was talking with Brent the other day, and I was like, what, like, I have a couple, like, here in sales we call them BHAGs, the big hairy audacious goals, where like you put everything on the line because that's what it's the goal is. And so like if your sales goal is $25,000 a month, your BHAG is 40. You just like push yourself to hit that next thing.
Sure.
And so I was asking Brent what his BHAG was, because like Brent has troubles doing weekly content, and it seems like when you're doing it full-time, weekly content is actually like pretty key to keeping your channel growing and keeping attention to your channel. What are the next things that you can see for Midwinter Minis? Because you've partnered with people, you've done a lot of different videos. What do you want to see this become? Because I want to see this miniature game hobby space. I want to see it elevate, and I think it's going to take people like you. It's going to take people like Brent and Jeremy. Like it's going to take the big players to like making a push for something. So what do you see as the future?
It's a tricky one because although I am ambitious, I also am very laid back, and I don't want to say lazy, but
I would say lazy.
Quality of life comes before growth for me.
Sure.
So I would be, I know this like sounds really boring, but I would be absolutely happy just maintaining what I currently do.
Okay.
Anything on top of that is a bonus, and that's fine. So that's the reason why. Things might have to change because, say for example, if YouTube dramatically changes the way it monetizes or it pays, I'd be in trouble. I make about half of the money I make on YouTube and about half from Patreon. So
sure.
It's like a very normal salary. Do you know what I mean? It's not like it's not some crazy like executive wage.
Right.
It's just a normal thing that I would earn somewhere else, but I get to do something very cool, and I'm very, very grateful for that. But what was my point?
Quality of life.
Quality of life
and goals.
Quality of life. Yeah, that was it. So I don't chase advertisers for like sponsored slots. I get offered a lot of sponsored slots on the channel all the time, and for people to send me stuff to review, and I'm just not interested because that's not. I just think, would I watch that video? No. I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make a video I wouldn't watch. That's for me, that's the epitome of selling out. That's the actual definition of it. So I'm just not interested in doing that. The one advert that I've run on the actual channel was for World of Warships, and that was kind of the right sponsor at the right time, because I was already scripting a video about Warhammer being popular, and there's a huge section in it where I'm talking about video games, and they were like, we're doing a crossover with Warhammer 40,000 in a video game. And I was like, well, that kind of writes itself, doesn't it? Sure. So I gave them the fee and they paid it, and that was, did it. But there's so many like 3D printing, like third-party companies and stuff that, although I would love to have their stuff, I can't make a video just on that. You know what I mean? It just, for me, holds no interest at all.
And it's not what the channel's about.
No.
And I think you have to. You are speaking to your audience, who are there for what you produce. They're not there to just be
sold to.
Yeah, sold to. They're not just there like, look at my stuff so I make loads of money.
I would be, and I have in the past, I'd be much more inclined to if I get something and I think it's great, I'll make a little video on it, like almost a bonus video. So the Felder Blackstone Fortress foam set, I was this is brilliant, because it was just, the miniatures clattering around in the box before that, and I was like, this probably isn't very good. So,
and they're very fragile.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna, and it's not very clear how to actually put the things in and where to go. So I was like, this is how you do it. This is a useful video for literally everyone that has Blackstone Fortress. Maybe you will find it useful as well.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm not adverse to doing that, but that's a bit of a tangent away from my ambitions for the channel. Sorry.
No, I like.
You it in your
my ambition for the channel is to just continue doing what I like to make, because I think other people probably like to watch that.
Well, they do, because that's why it's done well so far, isn't it?
Well, and you are the product. Like, we may be talking about Warhammer, but you could put literally anything else in there, and people are coming back for Guy and Penny. It's not so much what we do, it's just the fact that there's the shared interest of that. And that's the thing that, like, people who are actually making it in YouTube, I was talking with Scott about this, like, I think Scott could stop doing weekly videos that are just weekly videos. I think he could do like actual, this is what I want to do videos, and people would show up for Scott, because he's got that sort of following, and they aren't really there just because he paints Warhammer. They're there because, the miniature. Exactly. And that's a really interesting aspect about content creation, and something that, when you come from like a band idea where it's the group and everybody is working for a common goal, when you break off and it's the solo show, like, it's hard to value yourself as the product, because that's actually what you're selling. And that's a really interesting place to be in 2020, because it seems like that's the product of people is the only thing that is actually in growing right now. As we all have more time to watch, we all get to know you all better, or we feel like we get to know you better. And so, like, I've seen a lot of channels, like, in the last couple of months just get so much more hits and so much more traction, and the, like, more personality is there. And I think that that's a cool thing. I mean, like, for me, I want to see like a Geek and Sundry version of, like, all of these shows all put into one, and have like a TV station, a PBS, or like whatever, like of miniature painters and hobbyists, because, like, I think you could put all of this stuff together, and some of the D&D people, and have like really amazing content to be put out, because all of the people in it are so different. The big players, there's very little actual cut and paste copies of each other.
Yeah, definitely. I think, as well, I was just saying to you literally yesterday, wasn't I, that the hobby sphere and the general industry is growing still quite rapidly, actually.
Yeah.
And the bigger companies involved in it are seeing record sales. Share prices higher than they've ever been, and of course that'll level off and it'll come down, but at the moment it is growing, and the appetite for the stuff is growing. The whole situation of lockdowns happening all over the world, it's kind of forcing people to kind of reduce their outdoor activities and
social,
and so
sort of home-based stuff.
It's just one of those things that, do you know what, so many people maybe have thought about doing it, or did it in the past and sort of didn't have the time, or they, for whatever reason, they stopped. And it's just really easy to pick up again. And there's so much more inspiring stuff at the moment to actually help you.
Sure.
And to make you want to do it and to feel like it's a cool thing rather than, this kind of like secret nerdy, murder based thing.
Right. No, absolutely.
Nerdy murder based.
Sure.
So do you think, like for me, I hate editing hobby videos. Like they just are just so mind numbing to me. I like talking to people. I'm too much of an extrovert to sit behind and watching my face do things or listening to my voice do things. So like I found myself being like really big into Twitch and live streaming, and that has been, for like my sanity, like a really huge part of like my weekly routine. Is if I get a free second, I hop on Twitch. If I have time to actually stream, I do it, like, and every Sunday I do it, and it's fantastic. Do you guys think you'll ever do any Twitch streaming or anything like that? I know right now YouTube is trying to push the live features more, and I love watching the behind the scenes stuff. Like I watch like Jazza's daily him talking videos way more than I actually watch his weird stupid challenge videos, because like I'm more interested in the human than I am in whatever he's doing. And Twitch has given that to the mini painting community, to where like you can sit down and hang out with Sam Lenz and listen to metal with him while he paints a Plague Marine, and just have your mind blown away at that sort of stuff. Do you think that there's a place for that for you guys at all?
Certainly occasionally, why not? I think my strength the strength of what I do is I'm good at editing. I think I'm a good storyteller through editing. My ability to speak live, certainly there, but it's not my main skill. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
I find it very difficult to kind of and I go off at tangents a lot. And I know you could say, people will just watch whatever, but
that is part of what makes those things enjoyable, though.
Sure.
I really like watching kind of behind the scenes things, because the finished product is fine, but there's something that just is a bit more personal if you hear the cock ups and
Sure.
That's why I always say to you to keep all the bloopers, but you don't. But I think they're the best bit.
I know, but then when I release a 4-hour video of just the bloopers,
it's so funny.
It's just you swearing constantly.
It is just me constantly, or us failing to pronounce words 25 times in a row, or but I like to watch other people's videos like that. If you're watching a TV program, the finished product's fantastic, but behind the scenes bits are always better, because it's like, I don't know, it's like you're sneaking in on something that everybody else isn't party to.
Sure.
It just makes things a bit more personal, I think. But I don't know.
It's not something I'm ruling out, and definitely occasionally I might do like a live stream for a specific thing, or like do I don't know, in the future I might do like a 24-hour live stream for charity or something. I don't know, like building and painting a set in one day or something. Yeah, but it's entertaining, isn't it? And if I can help charity, then that's great. But I think primarily that isn't, what I do isn't going to change. It's not going to change from like my format of the videos that I do to live streaming. It's going to be an occasional thing.
Yeah, it's interesting because like I'm seeing like live streamers getting to the YouTube zone. Like Sam Lenz just like started his YouTube channel, and they're like both spaces. I don't know if they're oversaturated, but it feels like we're heading to a place where there are going to have to be like some some lines in the sand made, and people making decisions on whether edited content or live content's the way to go. And watching like, I don't know, do you watch Tabletop Minions, Uncle Adam, at all?
I watched. This is the thing. I watch his videos. I don't watch any live streams. Literally, the only live streams I ever watch are when people that I know or I speak to a lot kind of live stream
are doing them. Sure.
Yeah. So if like Scott from Miniac does a live stream, I'll go in there and I'll jump on and I'll like annoy him in the comments. It feels my duty,
Yeah. I'm sure he appreciates that.
Yeah. But it's just, again, that's like my preference. My preference is not to watch live stream stuff.
Sure.
I prefer to watch.
I think for you, it's
things.
because it's the attention. So it's not necessarily attention span. It's I'm watching this to get the content and it should be there. Whereas the live stream is just chat, isn't it? And there's not as much focus, which you.
But then there's the interaction element as well, and I can see the benefits. It's just something that I don't personally connect with. So I just like to assume that there are also people who don't personally connect with that, and they'll probably want to more enjoy the format that I make.
Sure. Oh, and I used to not like Twitch at all. Like I'm selfish. I've said this many times. I like this. I like us talking to each other. And when I see somebody else talking to somebody else in chat, I'm like, you aren't talking to me, and I want your attention right now. And I feel it. Like, now that I've been part of it and I've gotten over it, it's much easier now. But like getting started, and especially if you got like a question and like you get skipped in chat, like it is infuriating. You're just like, ah. So like I don't know, live stuff. It's for me it works because I just talk and just hang out, and I will never do the YouTube stuff. I think there's enough people doing it, and I think that there's enough tutorials, there's enough cool content from creators that I'm keep on finding new ones every day, like Steady Crafting. Have you guys done Steady Crafting yet?
Yeah, we've been watching a lot recently. Yeah.
Was that the craft?
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
The craft man. It's insane. It's absolutely insane, and I'm so glad that I found something like that, because like I don't know where else you get characters like that.
It's
you
such
can't
an
do that live.
concept, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a real like nice fresh air kind of element to the hobby, which is good.
Yeah.
And that's when the idea of like a TV station starts hitting me more. Like oh man, like you could do this. This could be like modern day Sesame Street. And like when he just had his like contest to like get all of like the kids where you make your own Craftsman intro, and you heard kids doing like little like paper puppet stuff, like that was heartwarming. And I'm like, I never had even considered how like important this could be to the hobby space. And so it's really interesting to kind of think about like the other formats of this, what like, because I know the appeal is much more than just people who like Warhammer and a grim dark future. Like you guys are funnier than that, and appeal more is more there. So I don't know, to me it feels like we're like one big company away from them figuring out that this is actually way cooler than it should be.
Maybe it's better staying sort of in a personally controlled way, though.
I think there is something though about. I think the problem is that in the hobby sphere that we have, is that Games Workshop, as the kind of the top dog as a manufacturer,
yes,
really, whatever people think about their sort of progressive community that they're developing currently, they're really not very good at kind of working with content creators.
No.
In fact, one of the worst companies I've ever experienced working with content creators.
Your video talking about that was like really eye-opening, because I have often wondered if that's exactly how it goes.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not to say they are going to stick like that or they're never going to change, but it's just, it seems crazy to me that there are people who basically now make their living off essentially talking about painting, playing with a company's products, and they basically have close to zero involvement. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Or supports. And there are companies, not even in the fields that I'm used to working in or particularly knowledgeable about. There are companies who literally just pay content creators to make stuff with their products in.
Yeah.
Outright. They actually contract them, and it's like, well, I'm not expecting people to do that, but it's crazy that say for example, if someone like I don't know, like if Miniac for whatever reason got into some kind of hardship, and it wasn't financially viable for him to make videos, for whatever reason, that would be a catastrophic loss for the hobby community.
Yes.
And he would get no help. There wouldn't be any like lifeline when he's like a major contributor to Games Workshop's profits. Really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just saying the facts. Anyone with even a remotely kind of business focused mind can see that as like a plain fact. But it seems crazy that they basically leave people in the dark so much. But anyway, that's not what.
I mean, it's a weird. It puts a weird sense of uncertainty on the future of what you guys are doing, because I mean, Games Workshop's always going to make Warhammer. Warhammer's not going away. And they couldn't piss off enough people to actually really hurt their bottom dollar. Because even the people who say they're going to boycott GW now are totally full of shit. We've all spent our 10 grand. We're here. We're invested. And so when Brent said that to me, I was like, dude, you're totally right. We are going to be talking with racists the rest of our lives. That's going to be part of the conversation of Warhammer now. And hopefully the local stores, once they're back, it won't be super heated and people will have calmed down, because I don't think anybody wants to be blacklisted from their own shop. Cooler heads hopefully will prevail. We all posture online a lot, but so there's always going to be things from GW, but it's interesting seeing all the other companies in the space right now. You got Parabellum Games doing Conquest, and they haven't quite broke through and or figured out the online thing, and I'm really confused, because I was hoping to kind of be part of that, and literally all I can do is just talk about it, because I'm just not going to do those types of videos. And it seems like you're right, these companies should be investing in you guys more, because the healthier the relationship, the better both businesses will be. There's a symbiosis happening there.
Yeah, and when I said investment, I'm not just talking about money. I just mean time and information. That is often more valuable than money in terms of what you can do to prepare ahead and anything like that. I think realistically, the thing that will dramatically change for the better is as soon as another company brings out a game that is popular enough. It doesn't have to be amazingly popular, but popular enough, has a really good rule set, has digital rules available and digital, army building, rules referencing, an app for the game essentially.
Yeah.
No books. Stop printing books. I really don't understand it. It's crazy. The whole thing about the Indomitus reprints taking 3 months is because the books are printed in China. They have to be shipped over. That's why are you doing that? Just don't print the books. Say, here's an app, or here's a PDF, searchable PDF of all the rules. And just knock the price of the box down by a tenner, and people would prefer that box. Honestly, do you know what I mean? I think. Yeah.
Especially when things like Battlescribe are beating GW at their own game. There's already things doing it. And I'm all about the fluff, but I don't use iOS, and so it's the only way that I can get GW stuff is in a PDF, and then I can't can't have all the special features that come with like an iBooks thing, and it makes it really frustrating to try to use their products digitally. I'm very confused by that aspect of their business model, and I mean, I think that there's a lot of things that GW does that are perplexing.
They just need a little bit of competition, is what I was going to say. You know, a game that is kind of made by someone else, does quite well, has good rules, good models, and, you know, digital assistant app. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh man, that's what we need to do. Like, this is what.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just need someone to kind of start putting a little fire under them, maybe.
You know, and I don't think what's their name? Oh, geez, not Kings of War. Is that the new one that everybody likes over there?
Mantic, yeah.
Mantic, yeah.
Yeah, Mantic make quite a few games. Apparently, they're quite good.
Yeah, I've never played any of them, but you know, I've heard good things about it, and that seems to be like their big push, is being able to give people stuff, you know, and like Parabellum with Conquest, like if you like the dark fantasy stuff, they've got that in spades, but like if you want to do pew pew shooties, like they don't have it yet, and that's really important, and you know, and especially when you have things like you know, Ash Barker or Baker, his like zombie apocalypse game, like he sold tons of that book and like has a really, really loyal community who loves that. And, you know, it's just like it, I don't know. It feels like there's a big disconnect from like the big guys versus all this like fragmented little guy stuff, which I don't know, that could be a whole nother topic that I'm just not mentally prepared to tackle right now.
Yeah, exactly.
We've gone a little bit over our hour now, and I really appreciate you guys hanging out and talking. So yeah, like, is there anything that you guys want to like push or promote besides this whole new arena game? Is there things that you really like that you want more people to pay attention to, besides your guys' music?
No,
I think that's fantastic.
Anyway, I just would like to encourage people to just enjoy their hobbies and enjoy their lives, and yeah, be nice to each other and have fun.
Oh, that's so profound, guys.
And get drunk.
Penny, you are in a very unique situation where you get to see the other side of the coin when it comes to a pandemic. How's that working for you? Do you feel I mean, I'm sure in you know, England it's much better than it is here. Like here it just feels like dire. You know, like do you feel like you're coming on the other side of it? You guys are handling it all right?
Definitely feels better. I mean, lots of our luckily I was in I say luckily, just the way it worked, I was in primary care when it was kind of the peak, so I was in the community working in a GP surgery, so I kind of didn't have that same full-on COVID rota hospital-based madness that a lot of people did. You know, I was going to be called back to the hospitals, but they didn't need us in the end. They were well staffed enough. But yeah, from colleagues, you know, nursing and doctor friends, the stories have been awful, you know, just, and we're in an area that really hasn't been hit that badly, especially me. I was working, you know, even further away from London than when we live, and we were hit fairly minimally, I would say, but
Good.
It's changed everything about the way we've been practicing. I mean, we've had months of not really seeing patients face to face, which a lot of places do anyway. They have telephone triage or video appointments or whatever, but we were very much a sort of face-to-face surgery. I mean, it happened fairly soon after I started there, so I say we, like, it's not really my surgery or anything, but everything changed, and patients found that difficult to adjust, and the attitudes were very different. Sometimes I'd be arguing with a very frail and vulnerable 96-year-old lady that I really did not need to have a look in her ear, like, it's going to be fine, please just give it a few weeks, and maybe if things are better then you can come down to the surgery. To other people who I'm like, I really think you need to go to hospital, but they don't want to go because they don't want to get COVID. So that
Sure.
has been a whole new element to managing patients and people's anxieties and mental health problems, and has been a real thing, which it is anyway. But yeah, it's been interesting, hasn't it?
The more important question is,
yeah,
it's going to take over from your questioning position just
Do
for a
it.
second.
this is my
Do it.
own question.
The more important question is, how long do you think it's going to be until a patient recognizes you as being Penny from Midwinter Minis?
Well, recognizing me is going to be more difficult. There's not much of me kind of visually around. There's a few pictures on your Instagram, I think, but
You've got quite a unique voice.
yeah, that's true. But I don't know. I don't think that, you've only been recognized twice, Guy. I mean, for God's sake, your face is on pretty much every video. So if you've only been recognized twice, I think there's a long time coming before I do.
Twice in 2 weeks in the street.
Whoa.
That was kind of weird.
Yeah.
It was
Well.
perfect timing. We had a visitor. We had my parents were around, and then they had brought a friend that we'd never met before, and it made Guy come across as so famous when he's not, just with this new person that we've never met, and oh look, Guy gets recognized in the street like it's a totally normal occurrence. Oh God.
Brilliant.
I love it. That is a weird thing, being, when you have 100,000 subscribers, like, that's not an insignificant amount of people. And when you're getting 20 or 30,000 on the low end of views, like, that's a lot of people that you're in their houses. And like, coming from the musician side, like, I was thrilled when man, our band page has like 50 people liking it right now.
Yeah.
And I didn't even work at that. Like, it's a whole new ball game being in everybody's houses the way that you are. And I think that it means that the relationship between like viewer, content creator is very different as well, because every single one of us feels like we know you way more than we actually do, because if you were to ask most people like what they actually think that these people are like in their daily lives, like, no one knows that you have a dog, no one knows that you enjoy a nice glass of wine. These are things that aren't talked about, but like are like actual real things that flesh out the three-dimensional people that you guys are. And so it's really interesting getting a glimpse inside these things. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And Penny, thank you for continuing being a doctor and doing this stuff and being there. I know it's hard, but like, we need you, and that's great. So we need more rational people helping other people to not be idiots. And we could use some of that over here in the States right now, big time. I love you guys. Honestly, truthfully do.
Stop it, you.
I really, you guys have given a lot of entertainment and a lot of hours of just like straight up, like, I enjoy it. My wife likes when it's on, and she could care absolutely less about what's happening. Like, thank you so much for bringing that to the hobby and making this hobby a happier and healthier place, because your hard work has absolutely been noticed.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you very
doing your
much.
part as well. I
I
don't want to
know.
seem like it's the me show. You've got a really good channel on the rise. It's doing well. Just hit 500 subscribers, right?
I did.
Yeah.
It's that's a weird feeling. Like, I was like, 500. That just happened. And it just keeps on going. It'll be interesting to see how long format conversations go for the like growth of a channel. Because like,
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised if people stick around. That's what YouTube wants.
Yeah.
yeah, true. What I need is an editor to edit. Like, I've got two things that happen right now. My conversation, my comments are either the conversations are great or Heath, you talk too much and we want to hear more of the other person. And I get it. Like, I'm an extrovert. I totally like will talk and talk and talk. So I just need like an editor who can edit me out of the videos and make them not be like garbage. And that way they're like, the people who don't want to hear me talk can have like a nice truncated conversation. And then I'm just capitalizing off the same content twice. That's all I need.
Yeah, but
you have those people who want exactly what you make, which is a two-way conversation.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not an interview.
Yeah.
Don't maybe maybe you've already done this in your mind, but maybe you should focus not on creating interviews, but it's just a conversation. It's just like letting people listen in on a conversation about a certain topic with certain people.
Absolutely. Oh, it's like a little podcast, isn't it? It's just
I try not to use the word interview because it gives this level of profession that people expect. And like I need everybody, if anybody gets to this point in the video, I need everybody to know that I'm just like you. I'm a fanboy and I'm having a lot of fun talking with potential new friends. Yeah. And so sometimes I extrovert all over the microphone, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just very enthusiastic.
No, it comes up. It's good.
Enthusiasm is what it's about, isn't it?
It's like, seriously, out of all of the sales techniques and things that I've learned in my years of doing a bunch of bullshit jobs, sales is really the transfer of enthusiasm from one person to another. And that is what I think even though nobody wants to be sold to on YouTube, the enthusiasm of what everybody does is what the product that we're buying. You know, we want to I don't want to listen to a channel that's just depressing the entire time. You can't help it. It needs to be good.
Salespeople are the secret ingredient here, because I know a lot of people who have made other channels are former salespeople. I certainly am. You certainly are. Salespeople, that's the key.
Salespeople are my least favorite kind of people.
Jeremy hypothesized that YouTube is the home for failed musicians, and I thought that was really funny. I was like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it, totally. But no, the sales thing, like, you have to be able to talk, and you have to actually understand, the aspects, the angles that, people want to listen to, and that's hard. So.
And you get used to just doing the constant, very slight smile. Perfect.
I swear it's like some mind control or something. You're just trying to trick people into buying
It's
stuff.
not a trick.
Yeah, but it feels like it. I don't like it.
Just
They're all lovely.
Bring a wink in every once in a while.
Yeah. My favorite was to just throw out random compliments. And it was in Scotland, so I could literally, whatever they were wearing, I'd be like, that's a really nice coat. And they'd be like, oh, thanks.
Oh yeah.
You go without a coat in Scotland.
Conversation starter,
God's sake, Guy, you're so sleazy.
Seriously, my number one sales pitch when I was doing guitars was, "Oh, dude, that guitar's awesome." And then everybody would be like, "Yeah, dude, it is." It's like, "Yeah, you want to buy it?" And that was it. That was like my conversation. And I was a really good guitar salesman, and everybody hated me because I didn't actually care. I learned all the things. I learned the wood. I learned the neck radiuses. I did all that stuff for the people who wanted it.
Yeah.
But most people don't want that shit. They just want to look cool and feel cool. And you're just like, dude, that guitar is awesome. And then they're like, oh yeah, it is awesome. Yeah, you're right.
I would say about 90% of the guitars and just any instrument I sold was to parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By you be really nice to the kid, set them up on the stuff, be really cool with them, be like, oh wow, how long have you been learning? And they're like, a year. And you're like, wow, you sound really, really good. You're doing really well. And then you go and speak to the parents. Oh, they're doing really well. They're doing really well. They're getting private lessons. And this
is all just lies, isn't it? It's such a industry.
It isn't lies.
He sounds really good because he's played Stairway to Heaven 27 times, and everyone wants to shoot themselves.
That's not a bad thing. That's a difficult song. I can't play that now.
You moan about it all the time.
I'm not very good though.
The thing. So, Guy, I'm guessing you and I are about the same age. Oh yeah, I'm 37 in a couple months. So yes, you remember learning guitar before
The
the internet, and
Yeah.
that is, it's like when I started watching kids playing like Avenged Sevenfold and doing sweep arpeggios, I was like, you little shit. Like I'm gonna take you out back. I'm gonna break your goddamn hands. Like, because I still can't play a sweep arpeggio to save my life. And like I have been working on it for 20 years.
Nice.
Like, it's the difference between like learning pre-internet and learning post, like specifically YouTube, is dramatic. Like, it's going to change. It should have already changed colleges at this point, because the wealth of information's there. Just YouTube doesn't have the context that college brings. Like, there's got to be like a recognition of, like, I've watched 5,000 hours of people painting minis online. I actually know how to paint X, like at X level, you know, like it's interesting to think that. And yeah, like, man, selling guitars, and like I thought it was going to be a lot of smoke on the water and, you know, bullshit like that. And these kids are coming out playing like crazy things. Like, I should quit. I should quit playing guitar and pick up synthesizers. That's what I should do.
I actually thought when I started working at a music store, I was like, I'm pretty good. I can play, you know, I can play guitar, I can play bass, I can play keyboards, I can play, you know, whatever. I can sing. It's great.
God,
and then
so humble.
no, I know. I thought I was pretty good. You know, like 24 or whatever it was when I started.
Yeah.
And you know, like, had my own band, was selling music, whatever. And then you start working at a music store. Literally everyone you work with and most people that come through the door are so far beyond your, you know, skill level. You just feel like a child constantly. There's people I work with.
You did work with some incredible musicians, though.
The manager of the store was like, he was in basically like a Van Halen tribute band. And he was like, he could play some of the things better than he plays them on the record, like cleaner. Like, what? Crazy.
Like, that level of like dedication to one thing is something that I do not have. Like, I like the plateau and hanging out where I feel cozy. I'm like, no, I can do this. I can talk with the big guys, but I don't have to be as good as them. But like, you know, like I can look at my stuff and feel good about it. It's the same thing like with music with me. Like, I got just as good as I wanted, and that was about it.
We were just looking at your paint job of the Duchess. It's very good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That one I've been doing live on Twitch, and I've been doing it for like 2 months now. And I'm ready to do something else.
It's really nice. Well done.
Thank you. It's just weird. Like, you know, the things that I did on like the Duchess aren't hard. Like, literally anybody can do them. That they're the exact same skills that you guys paint in your teach in your videos. Like, I just have really good paint, and I knew that there were certain things that I wanted to look a certain way. So then I just did the mental work beforehand. Like, I think that was like the key. But like, you know, Pro Krill paint is the best paint I have ever used, because I did most of the work on that in like the first 3 hours. Like, all the rest have just been me like dialing it in. But by and large, it's looked the same for 2 months. So like, I mean, I think that's the other weird secret, you know, like that last 10% of detail takes, you know, 80% of the time. Like the heavy lifting, the things that you like, the blends, the reds, I did all that in, you know, 2 minutes. That was no problem. Just paint and wet blending.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So
long may that continue.
Yeah. I should let you guys get on with the rest of your evening. But thank you so much for hanging out in the murder basement. It's been wonderful getting to know you all. Thank you so much for everything that you've given to the community. Just flat out. Love you guys. It's great.
Thank you.
Too kind. Thanks, Heath.
Let's do this again.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
When you hit 10,000 subscribers.
10,000. Sounds good.
I mean, in a couple of months, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Well, who knows?
See you next week, hey?
Yeah, why not? All right.
Cheers, Heath.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of Hobby Time in the Murder Basement. I so appreciate your support. If you want to see more hobby content, hop on over to twitch.tv/Heath Aldrich to see all of your fun hobby content streaming whenever I get a free chance. If you like listening to these episodes in more of a podcast form, I should be on all of your favorite podcasting apps. Make sure that you like and subscribe to me there. If you can, leave me a 5-star review. I'd really appreciate it. Have a nice rest of your day, and we'll be talking to you soon.